Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today on the occasion of Emirati Women's Day, which actually falls on Saturday, the 28th of August. The theme for this year is Women, Ambitions and Inspirations for the Next 50 Years, as the UAE marks its Golden Jubilee this year. This year's Emirati's Women Day highlights the limitless ambitions of Emirati women and their aspirations for a better and more prosperous future in light of the leadership's support in empowering women. The UAE places a high importance on supporting and empowering women through various initiatives led by Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mbarak, who launched Emirati Women's Day back in 2015 and is the pioneer of women's work throughout the nation. Her Highness Sheikha Fatima, often referred to as Mother of the Nation, is the champion in women's empowerment, for she believes that upon their advancement rests the renaissance and evolvement of our society. Her Excellency Sheikha Lubna Al-Qasimi, who is the Minister of State for Tolerance, was the first woman to hold a ministerial position in the UAE cabinet. Her Excellency Sara Al-Amiri, the UAE's Minister of Advanced Scientists, leads the UAE's rapidly growing space sector and is the Deputy Project Manager and Science Lead of the Emirates Mars mission, leading a team of whom 80% are women through the challenging journey of building and launching the first Arab spacecraft and who contributed to the success of the Hope probe. Today, we have brought together a panel of Emirati youth who are future pioneers in their fields. Together, they will discuss the pivotal role women play in Emirati communities, their achievements and ambitions throughout the years, as well as the support provided by the leadership. Our panelists include Fatima AlHarmoodi, manager at the DIFC FinTech Hive. Fatima leads the Hive's accelerator programs and manages a network of financial industry partners. Fatima also manages the FinTech Hive's third-party consulting projects that focus on fostering corporate innovation within financial institutions. We also have Latifa Bin Haider, is a social entrepreneur. She's the co-founder of Mental Health AE and a founder and CEO of Baytuki. Latifa is passionate and motivated about putting her skills to use for the enhancement, betterment, and service of her community. That is what pushed her to create her startup, Mental Health and Baytuki. We also have Mariam Alhebshi. She's the Director of Financial Institutions at Standard Chartered Bank. She leads the public sector and fintech portfolios in the UAE. Being an Emirati youth and with her solid experience in both government and private sectors, Mariam is leading the bank's efforts in growing the public sector portfolio and building the fintech ecosystem in the UAE. We also have Aisha Emara. Aisha joined the DFSA's Tomorrow's Regulatory Leadership Program, a graduate program that is aimed at developing young UAE nationals to become leaders in the financial services sector. After successfully completing the program, Aisha stayed on to join the DFSA's markets team, where she is currently an associate manager. The session will be moderated by Mariam Salim Al-Ma'mari from the Central Bank of the UAE. Mariam is in the Reserves Management Department. She initiated the formation of the Central Bank of UAE Youth Council and has been appointed as the council's chair. I am really proud of the ladies with us on the panel today because they have been driving all of their efforts to penetrate one of the most complicated sectors within the economy. Financial services, whether it's from tech, innovation, regulation, entrepreneurship, or even banking. Ladies, thank you for joining us, and I will hand over to Mariam Al-Ma'mari.
Thank you so much, Raja, for your kind words and lovely introduction. It is an honor to be part of this panel. So to start off, a question for Fatma. Can you just talk to us generally about the theme of this year regarding ambitions and inspirations for the next 50?
Sure. Firstly, thank you, Raja, for the introduction. And I'm honored to be speaking among a panel of young, inspiring Emirati women. Mariam, to answer your question, the UAE has been known to annually identify a theme that creates a general sense of direction and progress for the UAE throughout the year. As we know, Her Highness Sheikha Fatima has announced that this year's theme of Emirati Women's Day would be ambitions and inspiration for the next 50 years. And this theme is actually in line with His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan's announcement of 2021 as the year of the 50th, on the occasion of the Golden Jubilee this year. And on that occasion, a Golden Jubilee Committee has actually been formed in 2019, and they were tasked with governing the UAE's Jubilee celebrations, developing a comprehensive preparation plan, and forming organization teams to execute plans to mark the nation's anniversary this year. The theme of 2020 was all about preparing and maintaining the success of the UAE and planning for any goals and aspiration for the next 50 years. And as a result, that included aligning the objectives of all and several local, private, and federal establishments to be in line with this vision. The UAE has already seen the fastest pace of nation building and a rapid development journey, coming from a desert to where we are today. And this year's theme of the year of the 50th is an opportunity to contemplate the achievements of the past 50 years as we are gearing up for the next journey. This year's Emirati Women's Day ties into the general theme of the year of the 50th, where the theme highlights the unlimited ambitions of Emirati women and their aspirations for a better future, in light of the leadership support and empowerment of women. And finally, Emirati women are clearly supported by the leadership of this country through the UAE's framework of women empowerment. As His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum once said, we do not only empower women, but we empower the whole community through women, highlighting women as key contributors that play a pivotal role in our society.
Thank you, Fatma. Your references are truly touch the point and the theme of this year. I take it to Mariam to talk to us about what does this mean? What does this day mean to you or to the women of the UAE in general? And why is this day important considering your background as well?
Thank you, Mariam, and thank you everyone for having me today. I think first of all, happy Emirati Women's Day to all of you and to all the ambitious and hardworking women out there. In this day, I celebrate my mom, I celebrate my sisters, my female leaders, my female colleagues, and of course, my inspiring friends who I'm proud to see hitting one milestone after the other. This day isn't just marking the creation of the UAE's General Women Union by the mother of the nation, as Fatma and Raja and you guys have mentioned. But this also marks another day in the life of an Emirati woman who have shown dedication, who have shown strength and achievement, but equally have shown kindness, have shown love, care, and support to all people around her, whatever she chose to be and whatever she chose to do. This day is important for me, Mariam, and probably important to many people because we chose for it to be important. And I'm happy to be joined today by an extraordinary female panelist who made this choice to be here today and who made the choice to celebrate. This means a lot to us as ladies, as we see how the view and the picture of the female, whether they were entrepreneurs or working females, whatever they chose to be, how have they transformed until today. And personally, in this day, I celebrate given the chance and the choice under a very supportive and a very empowering leadership.
Thank you, Mariam, for that motivating part. Looking through a deeper lens, taking a question to Aisha. You can see that the UAE has enabled an environment for women to thrive by launching many initiatives, playing bigger roles in every ecosystem. Nearly 30% of UAE government structure is headed by strong Emirati women. These roles include ministers, like the Minister of Culture and Knowledge, the Minister of State for Youth Affairs, the Minister for International Cooperation, and many more. Aisha, can you please elaborate further from your perspective? How do you see the role of the government in empowering women in the UAE?
Thank you, Mariam. From my perspective, I believe that the government actually plays a crucial role when it comes to creating an enabling environment for women to thrive. Like in our case, the government has truly set the tone from the top, as His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, Allah yarhamah, once stated, women have the right to work everywhere. He believed that, women should work and contribute to society. He stated that, like men, women deserve the right to occupy high positions according to their capabilities and qualifications, of course. And in line with his views, Emirati women are being supported by legislation, by laws, all of which reinforces their rights and increases their participation in higher roles. And just beyond this legislative framework, the government continues to make the necessary efforts to promote gender equality, not only in the public sector, but also in the private sector. For example, we have the UAE Gender Balance Council, which aims to reduce the gender gap across all sectors and achieve gender balance in decision-making positions. And they also have initiatives such as the gender balance workshops, they have women on boards initiative, and so forth. And I believe because of the government's aid and commitment to empower women, they have provided them with the necessary tools to achieve professional excellence. And because of that, women are now the forefront of the workforce in the UAE in both the private and public sector.
Thank you, Aisha, for highlighting the Gender Balance Council. Taking it to sort of from an entrepreneurship perspective, Latifa, as the founder of Baytuki, which is a platform that enables Emirati women to make micro investments in real estate, can you talk to us about your vision when it comes to Baytuki and why you decided to focus your business towards Emirati women?
Sure. So my vision with Baytuki is to empower, educate, and enable Emirati women of all ages and income brackets towards financial prosperity. The goal is to have Emiratis become financially literate and make smart money decisions to prosper and grow their wealth. I believe that getting more money in the hands of women is only good for the society, for our families, and for the economies. In regards to why I decided to focus on Emirati women, have you read the Blue Ocean Strategy? To simply put it, it's a massive untapped market, a market segment that is overlooked by industry, a market segment that I've spent the last year and a half researching, communicating with, and understanding. And I made sure to address their pains with the solution. I want the best for them, and I want it now. So providing opportunities is how we enable our women towards financial prosperity. I recently listened to this podcast that hosted Sally Krawcheck, the founder of Elevest, and she said that women don't invest as much as men do. They keep the majority of their money in cash, so they don't get the opportunity to earn or make returns on that. And for a lot of women, it feels like the industry does not represent them. Again, I completely agree with her because that is also something that I found from my year and a half worth of research. I completely agree. So we changed the underlying project to the way that an Emirati woman wants to invest. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this earlier, but or before this at all. It's a very common lesson or tip in our society to buy or invest in gold or real estate. It's passed down in generations. And the idea is that real estate is not for everyone. And it's not an affordable option, or many avoid taking a loan for an investment for multiple reasons. One being paying interest or getting involved in that is not halal, right? So it's very common. It's a very common answer that I heard through my research. So with the idea that I wanted to cater to an Emirati woman's needs and help her grow her wealth, while also helping her become financially literate and enabled through micro investments, an affordable option, I founded Baytuki. I aim to support and advocate for women to take a step forward in the field of investment without hesitation and without fear.
Amazing. You touched upon this a little bit, but I'd like to discuss it even further. Like, as a founder and a member of this startup ecosystem here in the UAE, it is apparent that there is less female representation, as you just said, in this specific space. So what can we do to increase women's participation in the sector, and what skills do you believe that women bring to the table?
So to increase female participation, we need to understand why there is less in the first place and address that. To start off, there are barriers in place that prevent women from entering the startup ecosystem. Female entrepreneurs are less likely to receive funding for their startups compared to male entrepreneurs. And but when they do receive funding, research has shown that they perform the same, if not better, than their male counterparts. So we need to create spaces to financially support female entrepreneurs. For example, more dedicated incubators exclusively for women, or by creating women investors groups. Second, because the startup ecosystem is male dominated, many of the resources to enter it, especially sectors like tech, or the field that we're talking about, targeted towards males, and can make women feel like it's not accessible for them to enter. So we need to encourage them and make it more accessible for them by targeting them specifically, giving them guidance, by raising awareness about innovation's positive effects, and by extra education in high school and university level. Now, what can women bring to the table? Half the population is women, right? And in many cases, we can't expect male entrepreneurs to address the needs of a female targeted audience the way a female entrepreneur would. So because the startup ecosystem is male dominated, women have the potential to bring in new and important perspectives. And women they can be, or are, incredibly skillful. They've shown to have high emotional intelligence, which means that they have potential to be great for leadership positions, and managing teams and nurturing positive work environments. And studies have shown that female-led startups are resilient and quick to adapt, which is perfect for the startup industry, which requires those skills.
I think also a point is to just have females, as you said, encouraged to take that first leap and like believe in themselves. And that is a hurdle for most of us into like actually just taking that first step and seeing how things go. Zooming out just a bit and focusing on the banking sector, Mariam, as a member of the Standard Chartered Bank, which is a large institutional bank that has shown support to women through initiatives like Women in Tech Initiative, can you elaborate on why we need such programs and what is the impact behind them? And if you can describe what is the value added being participating in similar programs on a professional and personal level?
Sure. I think Mariam spot on. Those are the questions that a lot of people wonder about. I think indeed, Women in Tech is an initiative that is very close to our heart in SCB. And we've been running this initiative for the past 3 years. And I think this year we're making it even a little bit more special because we're partnering with both FinTech Hive and Hub 71. In my opinion, those programs, Mariam, are designed to encourage women with brilliant ideas in technology to share with the world what they have in mind. So those initiatives are some sort of gateways, and that support women to transform their great ideas into a reality. So in many fields, once women were underrepresented. This is what Latifa was also trying to stress. And that has only increased in certain fields because women have stepped up and because leaders have supported them from behind. So we think through these programs, female representation in tech will accelerate for sure. And hand in hand with the men, they will drive the tech industry forward and towards a sustainable future, which is backed by the inclusion efforts that we put in today. So as much as we put efforts today, as much as those fruits will be reaped in the future. And in terms of value, to your question, Mariam, what is the value basically behind participating in such events? I think at some point, many of us have considered doing their own thing. And regardless of how burning the idea it is, it's almost always a formula of two components. One is willpower, and the other one is resources. And having two of them is actually seriously a blessing to consider. So if I look at it from a professional point of view, I think participating in these programs open the doors to get financial support, first thing. And the second thing is the mentoring and that value you get from the mentors out there. People who have gone through a similar journey that you have gone through and can share with you their experiences from their point of view. This is on a professional level, but if you look at it as well from a personal level, you get to meet with like-minded people and you get to expand your network. In addition, it helps you build your brand and position yourself rightly in the tech ecosystem. This increases your chances in the future to be exposed to more programs and to more incentives. I think while preparing for the session, I had a somewhat different perspective to answer this question. But now that Latifa have also provided her insights, I think from an entrepreneurial perspective, I now understand more from Latifa how an entrepreneur thinks like. And I now understand what is the value that women can create when having the small groups and those discussions on a woman perspective. And I think I do take note of what she have said. Probably men entrepreneurs cannot think like female entrepreneurs and cannot produce what they have in mind. So this is why I think it's the beauty of how the two sectors marry together, whether it was the public sector or private sector, or even the entrepreneur sector. I hope that answers your question, Mariam.
It does. And then when you say that mentorship is really valued, we second that. I feel like in every sector, that's like applicable to all sectors. And it reiterates Latifa's point where we have to sort of work together and build these networks and come together as female women, and the sky's the limit when we like put our heads together. Moving to Aisha, a bit of a personal question. The leaders of the UAE have always been a source of inspiration for us, and today I'm proud to see that Emirati women are inspiring others through their achievements and journeys. I'd like to ask you, who inspires you and why?
Thank you, Mariam, for this question. Like I said, kind of a personal question, but very happy to share. I think to me, you can easily find inspiration in all women. So all women are an inspiration in their own way. You know, a woman has many roles. She's a daughter, she's a mother, a wife, a caretaker, a teacher. And on top of all that, she's also a professional working woman. So the fact that women are able to balance many roles while still working hard and holding high position is an inspiration to me. But for the sake of this panel discussion, I'll name just a few of the role models for me. First and foremost is Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak, who, like Raja mentioned, is also known as the mother of the nation. She is actually the one that started the whole female empowerment movement back in, I believe it was 1973, just when the UAE was formed. She is, until today, a pioneering advocate for female rights, and she's spent decades just developing and empowering women both regionally and internationally. But other than her, I also am inspired by women who were the first to enter male-dominated fields, such as we've already mentioned, Her Excellency Sheikha Lubna Al-Qasimi. She was the first minister ever, female minister. But we also have the first female Arab astronaut, Emirati Noor Al-Matloushi. We have Mariam Al-Mansouri, the first Emirati female fighter pilot. So coming from a financial sector, from a financial background, I can relate to those women. Maybe not as much because I wasn't the first, but I think women who are the first to enter a sector that was traditionally known for maybe the male gender, it takes a lot of courage and tenacity for them to say, this is what I want, and this is what I want to do. And they went after it, and they were the first ever. And also, by them taking that step, they were able to open many, many doors of opportunities for other women who aspire to enter such fields as well. So to me, that is inspiration, that is motivation. And then you have also, of course, other incredible women such as Sara Al-Amiri and Her Excellency Rima Al-Hashimi, who have both led incredible projects and made history for the UAE. So to see a woman or women leading such big projects and taking on such big responsibilities, I think to me is extremely inspirational. And it lights like a fire in your soul, and it makes you feel like, you know what, women can do this, and we are capable of achieving such great things. And you know, that to me is incredible.
Great. That little fire is like motivation. When I joined Central Bank, I was the only female in the department, and like in my department, in the reserve management department, and like every meeting room I'd walk into with when we'd meet external teams, I'd be the only female in the room, and I make it a habit to like be loud with my femaleness and with my femininity, and walk in with like pink pens and like, you know,
Yeah.
So it's like, and I love that. I love sort of being, I love being female in a male dominated sector. And I just want to say that it is truly inspiring, like to have different females in different sectors who are leading and pioneering, even if we're not in the same sector, even if like we're doing completely different jobs. But just seeing female empowerment everywhere is refreshing and is amazing to like live and wake up to such amazing news. I remember when the first female Arab astronaut was announced, I was so happy.
Yes.
It felt like I was going. It felt like I was going to space. So yeah, it's great to hear.
Yeah, I think you're right. Even if we're all in different sectors, I feel like when other women see other women like succeeding, regardless of where they are at, I feel like we're all in this together, like collectively.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one big female collective.
Exactly.
I may pitch
Latifa?
in.
Yeah.
I share the same sentiments. And having this day, it feels like we're appreciated and our efforts are seen, from working women to generation builders. That's the term that I think is very inspirational for moms, generation builders or nurturers. And it makes me feel like I want to reciprocate and showing my appreciation by working harder. And I feel like I'm really lucky to be an Emirati, because the UAE is one of the few countries, if not the only country, where the leaders truly care about their women. So it makes, again, this day makes me feel seen, heard, and cared about. So you just kind of want to reciprocate. Simple as that.
I totally agree.
Thank you, Latifa, for that remark. Exactly. Being an Emirati woman is truly a blessing. A general question to the panel. Where do you see Emirati women in the next 50 years?
Sorry, please.
Okay.
Go.
Sure. I'll just go ahead. I think if they have made it to the space, then I think not even the sky is the limit. And this is something that makes us really feel proud. I see them right next to men when collaboration is needed. I see them right behind men when support is needed. And definitely I can see them in front of men when photos are taken, of course. But then, just kidding, but seriously, we do see them in front of men when they choose and when they're chosen to be on a leadership role.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I believe that women, as they are today, ambitious leaders, they will no longer be the exception, but they're going to be the norm. And I see that the female to male ratio will definitely balance out across all industries, such that there's no longer any like gender specific industry. And I believe that Emirati women will continue to step up and take more integral roles in the development of this nation. And they'll be seen more in executive levels and just generally becoming decision makers.
I totally agree with Aisha. I was actually going to mention that. That, you know, I do see it as it's going to become the norm with the way that we're moving right now. And I was just saying that I totally agree with Aisha. I was just going to mention that. Thank you so much. It is going to become the norm. And I'm just saying it like it's a statement. I really believe in that. Because common sense says that if for 50% of the population is women, then it just makes sense for it to be reflected in their leadership positions.
Yeah,
I completely agree with Mariam, Latifa, and Aisha. I think that especially because our leadership is so supportive that women are eventually going to be the same as where men are, and if not even more. We're going to see more women in leadership positions, more women entrepreneurs, hopefully. So I think that the environment here in the UAE really plays a big role.
yeah. Latifa, you touched upon this point just a bit, but I'd like to also address it to the panel. When you say that what we're talking about today would become the norm, what kind of legacy can we create today that would be appreciated by the next generation?
I think as women, I believe that, you know, we should always go after our dreams and unleash our full potential. By doing that, we not only open doors for other women, but we also inspire the younger generations to go after what they want. And by us doing that, we also set an example for which they can follow and hopefully surpass. And as Mariam has mentioned, the sky at this point is no longer the limit. So we should continue to just aim higher.
I think we're paving the way, kind of. So sometimes just you know, what I observed, when you hear a businesswoman or someone successful, you go like, oh, girl boss, go. Like it's refreshing, it feels good, but it also feels like it's not very common, right? It's not seen very often. And for the future, I would like for it to be yeah, that's very common. Like, well, it's not really like a big deal. Not like I'm not underestimating anyone's efforts, but I don't want it to be something that's not common. So that is what I say. I think we and all the other women that are putting so much effort into this are paving the way for the next generation.
Yeah, to add on to Latifa, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I think something we can do to leave a legacy behind is to continue to show that women can be and are able to be in these positions of leadership. That way, in the future, this is our legacy that we leave behind. Women are able to take positions of power and to succeed in these positions.
Maybe just to add to Fatima, it's not just what we leave behind, but it's also what we leave within the next generation. I think civilizations have disappeared, but the only thing that kept evolving is the human being. And this is our role, basically, to channel down what we have learned to the next generation and continue the efforts toward empowering.
Yes, exactly, Mariam, which brings us back to sort of throughout this discussion, we have it's just repeated themes of collectiveness, networking, motivation, like being a female strong collective in different sectors. Finally, a question to Fatma. What advice and recommendation do you want to give the future Emirati female entrepreneurs, or any of the panel? I think it's a question for all.
Sure. So my advice would be to take advantage of this supportive environment that we have and the opportunities that are available to Emirati women today. And I think to also challenge yourself. So explore areas of tech, of innovation across different industries, and surround yourself with a network of like-minded people that will help keep you motivated to achieve your goals. And I would also like to highlight the importance of having a mentor. I think it's really important when you're looking for guidance and support. here at FinTech Hive, we actually run a female-focused career mentorship program called Accelerate Her. Latifa, Aisha, Mariam, and myself were actually part of this program. And what we do is we select a group of eager young females in financial services to be exposed to workshops across all different areas and to be also connected with the leading industry experts who would mentor them one-on-one throughout the program. We're actually accepting applications now for the second batch this year of Accelerator. So if anyone in the audience is interested, just head to our website to apply.
That's amazing. I do encourage our audience to take that opportunity up and check out the website. I'm not sure if any of the other panelists has any final words of advice and wisdom.
Yeah, I want to tell the women to not be afraid to explore, right? You must be resilient and understand that failure is a lesson. It's not a setback that makes you want to quit. It's a lesson that you learn from and you understand how you pivot and how you can do it better the next time. And you must tell yourself every single day that you can and you will. And the power of manifestation, which has been going around a lot lately, only gets realized when you put in the work, right? So you go like, I want to do this. And then you write down like the very, very first steps, like do this every single day for like a month. And then you go back again and go like, okay, how much have I achieved? And then, next step. So again, the power of manifestation only gets realized when you put in the work. That's my tip.
Great. Aisha, do you want to go next?
Yeah, just to add on to what Latifa said about manifestation, I'm a big believer of manifestations. I even have like a big board where I'm like old-fashioned and I print out photos of things that I want to achieve and I like print them up and I see them every day. So I'm a big believer that whatever it is that you set your mind to, you can achieve. You just need to work for it and actually believe that you can. And yeah, like nothing can stop you.
I think from my side, and maybe 2 cents from me, one piece of advice is to keep learning. I think that's almost the only thing no one can take away from you. So keep learning, keep pursuing, and definitely keep praying as well.
Great. Wonderful advice from our panelists, Fatima.
On that note, I would like to finally recognize all the accomplishments and achievements and successes of all Emirati women. And as we're approaching the end of our webinar, I would like to thank our amazing panel for being here with us today and for sharing your insights. And on behalf of the FinTech Hive, we wish you all a happy Emirati Women's Day in advance. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.